Focus. Articulate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to the Brands That Build India. I'm Shireen Bhan. On this week's episode, we talk about a brand that has got itself stuck in the minds of the Indian consumer, quite literally. We're talking about brand Fevicol.
When I use the word Fevicol, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
It's चिपकना.
चिपकाने का? चिपकना. For sticking something. किसके लिए इस्तेमाल करते हैं?
टूटी हुई चीज को चिपकाने के लिए.
Fixed furniture जो टूटा फूटा हुआ, basically for kids crafts.
एग्रीमेंट में फोटो लगाने के लिए फेविकॉल यूज करते हैं.
बच्चों के प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए.
तो फेविकॉल नॉर्मली यूज होता ही है. एक तो ट्यूब रहता ही है घर में.
मैं जब छोटी थी तब यूज करती थी, अब मेरे बच्चे भी यूज करते हैं वो. फेविकॉल, फेविक्विक, एवरीथिंग.
The word Fevicol in terms of packaging, what image comes to your mind?
White और ब्लू है, उसमें एलिफेंट का लोगो है. हाँ.
White box with two elephant logo on that opposite side with the trunk.
As you see, it's a product that's primarily targeted towards carpenters, but it's a brand that's well known by everyone in the country. That is the success of Fevicol. Its advertising taglines are part of common speak in popular cinema. With its near-perfect mind share and market share, let's take a look at how Fevicol has become such a brand and business success. In 1959, Balwant Parekh and his brother Sushil were in the specialty chemicals business, making pigment emulsions for textile printing. The market was difficult, and the brothers saw an opportunity in the synthetic glue business. At that time, most carpenters in India were using natural glues from animal parts, which took days to prepare. A synthetic glue was convenient, faster and less smelly.
It took time and it was initially slow and difficult process, but I think they persevered and they could see that gradually this is going to pick up, and that I think it was a very great foresight on the part of that team where my father and his colleagues worked on this product and brand.
With new materials coming in, glues became necessary. Like with plywoods and laminates, you need glues. There's no other way. It's not just wooden joinery in carpentry that worked. You also need adhesives. So with new materials, the need for adhesives came in, and you needed adhesives that could work easily, could dry easily, could be used on site, and that's where the white glue from Fevicol came in.
Pidilite showed its shrewd marketing mind much before Fevicol became the brand that it is today. Realizing that it had to win over carpenters from natural glues and existing synthetic glues, Pidilite directly targeted them. The company made sure that Fevicol was stocked at retail stores instead of hardware stores, unlike competitors.
We had a lot of people who would do this on ground for us. So our sales force and people who were propagating our brand would go from outlet to outlet, consumer to contractor to contractor, and do this on a regular basis. As times passed by, we realized that it's also important to communicate with end consumers who are looking for furniture, who are looking for interior designs. And that's when we started advertising through mass media, including television.
With the next phase of brand building came an enviable agency-client relationship. One where both are equal stakeholders and the agency has complete liberty to think out of the box.
This is getting a bit too much. You want me to write a line on Fevicol in your diary on the spot. Okay, I'll try. I think this has been Fevicol.
The humor that makes the Fevicol ad so effective came in almost by accident. Piyush Pandey moved from client servicing to the creative account of Fevicol in 1987. With no brief from the client, who did little mass media advertising at the time, he made a radio ad on a whim.
Piyush being what he is, he put all his heart into the job, and at that time what we had on the agenda was a product called Fevitite, which was an epoxy two-component adhesive. And we felt that we need to do something about this product.
There was no brief for a brand called Fevitite. and I went and shared it with Mr. Madhukar Parikh and his father, late Balwant Bhai Parikh, and they loved it.
It kind of symbolizes strong bond, and how in India people talk about dam laga ke haisha when they are doing something very heavy.
And they wanted me to go and make a film, so I went and made a film for Fevicol. And then when I went and showed the film, they said, it's a fantastic film. They gave me a standing ovation, and then they said there's a problem, and my heart sank.
Fevicol brand is too small for this script. We want to spend money and do little more on this, and it will look nice on Fevicol, representing Fevicol brand.
And I went and reshot the film all over again. They paid for it all over again. And the Dam Laga Ke Haisha film was the first big film on which started the creative journey of Fevicol.
Advertising magic followed. Fevicol continued making some memorable TV commercials. The look and style has remained consistent: minimal dialogue, rustic or lower income urban settings. Catchy music, a brand pack shot with no product explanation, and humor. This cut across all strata, and the agency found that Fevicol became a household name with close to 100% brand recall.
The proposition, which is the ultimate adhesive, has never gone haywire. It has always been that. Whether it's Bollywood movies, whether it's mentioned by our Prime Minister, whether it's part of the dialogues, whether it's examples, whether it's cartoons, everything is related to it. So the proposition is the main thing. So we have not, people keep changing the propositions of the product depending on the number of years the brand has been through, or the new changes, or the new technology. But we have stayed with the same proposition right from the beginning.
Many Fevicol campaigns have picked up awards, but the agency insists that they're not the goal. Despite allowing the agency a free creative hand, Pidilite is extremely disciplined and well-planned in their approach when it comes to media planning and buying, which makes the commercials all the more effective.
As in coming up with the creative idea, Fevicol is also very creative in the way it spends its money. So they are not great believers in the typical way of thinking that let's make a 20-second and just bombard it 100 and 200 times. Okay, the way they look at it is, let's come up with a really nice story that brings alive the brand promise. Let's tell the story in its natural length, using the best possible talent that we have, and then later on come down to smaller edits, so that which serve as reminder to people. And I think that's what's really helped Fevicol in the last so many years.
Marketers and clients here in India have no clue. Suddenly when Deepavali comes, they say, but Deepavali has come. Now Deepavali has not preponed itself. It always comes at the same time. You haven't got into that. Now Fevicol plans itself very well. They know precisely if they have to be on World Cup, they know a year in advance when World Cup is. And they will plan it so well so that we all get the time that we would like to spend on the communication. That they do very well, and they are very decisive.
Of course, the client is also quick to spot a tactical opportunity when they see one. Last year, there was no TVC planned initially. The client and agency took only about a week to put this ad out. Besides the much talked about TV advertising, Fevicol has also adapted well to the use of new media.
We put up a mock store, and there's a big board over there which said, if you can take it, there were various artifacts placed over there on the shelves. If you can take it, it's yours. And people went there, and when they tried to pull it, they couldn't get it away. And because everything was stuck with Fevicol. And then so there's a drop down over there, a banner which said, Fevicol free store. That's when people got the joke. Because it was done in a guerrilla fashion, there were lovely surprising expressions that came out of it. And while the activation was on, we also filmed it in an interesting way. So we put the edit on YouTube, and that went viral. A lot of such things keep happening. People upload cartoons in which Fevicol as a word appears. Those things get WhatsApp, those cartoons, and that makes it viral.
Though the advertising targets everyone, the key influencers in Fevicol's purview are carpenters, contractors and interior designers. Away from its advertising, Pidilite devotes a lot of time and energy towards building loyalty with this crucial customer with its networking forum, the Champions Club.
I've been close to the Pidilite company, and recently we've done a few initiatives with Pidilite to try to bring these two communities of the craftsman and the designer together. When I think of the bond of Fevicol, I think of bond of Fevicol not just from two pieces of plywood or wood being put together, but two large communities.
We work with almost every contractor and carpenter and as many as interior designers as possible. And it's not something that is off late. We've been doing it for a number of years. We have a publication called Fevicol Furniture Book, which we've published for many, many years. And we have possibly the largest collection of furniture designs in the country, which we published.
This was started fairly early. Now that was a novel idea that you look at different designs to show to your customer, that is carpenters' customers, so that they get more jobs. Now that I think that picked up that kind of caught on very fast, and they really appreciated that. So this was an example where it was going beyond selling product.
Today, the brand is so much a part of everyday language that it often gets unexpected but very welcome publicity.
भरोसा एक ऐसा केमिकल है जी जो फेविकॉल से भी ज्यादा घनिष्ठ दोस्ती बना देता है.
Unplanned but very useful brand mentions for Fevicol there. On that note, it's time for us to take a short break. But on the other side, we speak with brand expert Santosh Desai and get his views on Fevicol.
When you have a great idea, it's not how much money you spend in the production. It's just the power of the idea. I think it's the kind of ad that gives advertising a good name.
Welcome back to Brands That Build India. On today's show, we're discussing the delightful Fevicol brand. Joining us now is Santosh Desai of Future Brand. Santosh, thanks very much for joining us on the show again. I realized that I just called Fevicol delightful. Isn't that quite an achievement for a brand that's actually a low involvement category?
No, absolutely. I think the idea that, and I think that would be a common kind of an adjective used for this brand. For a product of this kind in a category like this, to achieve the kind of not just the familiarity, salience, but actually sort of attracting so much consumer affection. I think it is absolutely remarkable.
Is there any precedent to this sort of brand building for an adhesive? Who are Fevicol's competitors and what do they do as far as their communication strategy is concerned?
There was a brand called Araldite which had which on the product had a tagline called "Mends everything except a broken heart." But you really have to go very far back to think of other competitive brands. There are other brands, there's Jeevan Jot, which used to be Fevicol, and there's Dendrite, and there are brands, but I think this kind of a relationship with the consumers over such a long period of time, that the kind that Fevicol has built is without precedent. I think in this category it is without precedent.
Would it be fair to say, Santosh, that Fevicol has managed to achieve what very few other brands can boast of, 100% brand recall? Does its market share reflect that?
Well, the market share is very healthy. I think they are leaders in virtually every segment that they are in, and they have over 70% share in most segments, which is very good. I mean, one must understand and that this is eventually, you're talking to the carpenter, you're talking to an intermediary, and so this is not, although it is presented like a consumer brand, it actually works through the trade. And you would have imagined that other pressures, attractive prices, for instance, other kinds of schemes might have changed the picture and actually reduce the market share and the dominance of this brand. So the fact that in a category of like this, which is so trade driven, for a branded presence to command this kind of a market share, I think is noteworthy.
All right, Santosh, on that note, let's take a look at what some people that we spoke to have to say about the Fevicol advertising.
You must have seen some Fevicol ads. Do you remember any?
Yeah, I remember that Fevicol Marine ad. It's about all these tables and chairs. They're stuck to a boat.
Pakde rehna, chodna mat.
And before two elephant is to go to the opposite direction, that table is to not get broken, something like that.
बहुत सारी पब्लिक एक ही गाड़ी में चिपके हुए रहते, एकदम हिल भी नहीं रहे.
मेरे ससुर तो बहुत हंसते थे. वो डब्बे वाली एड को देखे, वो कारपेंटर वहाँ से सब कटिंग करता रहता है, वहाँ पे डब्बा रखता है, वो ऐसे पकड़ के जैसे डब्बा लेता है वो नीचे ही पूरा गिर जाता है करके.
You know, Santosh, as you just saw there, everyone has a favorite Fevicol ad. What's yours?
I'll have to go back to the egg commercial. I think it's just so brilliantly inventive, and it tells you that, you know, when you have a great idea, it's not how much money you spend in the production. It's just the power of the idea. I think it's the kind of ad that gives advertising a good name.
As always, Santosh, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks very much. We'll see you again next week. Time for us to head into a short break, but when we return, we take a look at Fevicol testing new waters. On Brands That Build India, we're talking about Fevicol, that knows exactly how to bond with its primary customer, the carpenter. Now, realizing that the carpenter has some specialized requirements, Fevicol has come out with some value-added variants. Being a chemicals business, new variants of Fevicol require time and careful R&D. The furniture and woodworking business now has a lot of special requirements, which Fevicol tries to address with these variants. Recently, Fevicol launched the water-resistant Fevicol Marine and the fast-drying Fevicol Speed X.
Fevicol Marine, वही मजबूत जोड़, पानी में भी.
The requirements can be different for different types of laminates being stuck onto wood, different types of wood that are joined together. So I think we are constantly innovating and coming out with specialized new product propositions that meet these requirements better, and constantly making efforts to upgrade the market with these propositions.
When it comes to variants, Fevicol does have variants like Fevicol Marine, Fevicol Speed X. The ambition each time is to dramatize the benefit of that particular variant in a Fevicol tone and manner. And again, that adds to the brand sort of image of Fevicol, the mother brand image.
Building on their carpenter and contractor community forum, the Champions Club, Fevicol organizes a whole host of CSR activities. One such activity is the Shramdan Divas, organized on the 20th of December every year.
बेंच टूट गया होता है, तो छोटे काम के लिए कोई कारपेंटर आता नहीं है कोई, उसलिए हम लोग जाते हैं साल में पूरे दिन पीडीलेट की तरफ से, फेविकोल चैंपियन क्लब की तरफ से, और पूरा दिन हम लोग वहाँ रिपेयरिंग काम कर देते हैं उन लोगों को.
Year to year, I think the last 2014 December when it was held last, I think 30,000 carpenters carried out this donation of their labor, and I think it's going to grow year after year. I mean, we maybe in a few years' time it should reach at least 100,000 carpenters.
Fevicol believes that the activities through the Champions Club help society while helping the carpenter community improve their social profile. Besides the CSR activities undertaken through the Champions Club, Fevicol also hosts an annual fashion show in support of the Cancer Patients Aid Association. There's more reason to appreciate the Fevicol brand there, and that's all we have for you on this edition of Brands That Build India. Thanks very much for watching, but please do tune in for another brand story same time next week. Till then, from the entire team, goodbye and many thanks for watching.
Focus. Ideate, innovate, enable.